Hi YouTubers, it's Fortune Cookie 45 LC coming to you again, and it's that time of year again. But the subject of today's video is not Halloween, but it's the Mosin Nagant 7.62 by 54R rifle, commonly known as the Model 91, and it was modified in the year 1930, so it's called the 1891/30. However, the two that I have here are not the 9130, but rather is called the Model 39 because it was actually made by the Finns, and these two are made by the company Sako in Finland, using Mosin Nagant Model 91 receivers from the turn of the century. And then the Finns remanufactured them by adding new barrels and new wood stocks to create the Model 39 Mosin Nagant Finnish Mosin Nagant. Now the thing about it is, it takes that 7.62 by 54R round, which is the rimmed round. Now we like to buy the ammo in 440 round spam cans, but I like to open those spam cans up and put the ammo into 30 caliber ammo cans of US manufacture that allow the ammo to be stored for long term, but also easily accessible, instead of taking a half hour to open the spam can up. This is corrosive ammo, but it's mildly corrosive, and we need to clean our rifles after use, every one. Now the Russian Model 91/30, because it was modified in 1930, roughly 14 million of those were made, so that they're very common, easily acquired, and they're very inexpensive for the quality you get. Anywhere around $100. Now what happened was, some of the Mosin Nagants from the turn of the century were captured during the First World War, and the Germans wound up using those for a while and then selling the rifles to Finland. And the Finns took those rifles and took the wonderful milled receivers. What you see here is the receiver has a hexagonal mill work here, and it also has a bevel here, and the inside of the action is all machined. They took those receivers and they put their own barrels on, their own sights, and their own front sight configuration. So if you see a Mosin Nagant that has that kind of sight, you know it's a Model 39 made by Finland. The Finns also put their own stocks, their own wood stocks on there. And the wood stocks are delineated by being in 3 pieces, and it's joined by a kind of a finger into finger arrangement when they glued it together and joined it together. Right about there, you see the little joint right there. Well, you can't see the finger and finger arrangement until you look underneath. But all the serial numbers match here. There's that hexagonal receiver. Now, collectors of Model 91 Russian Mosin Nagants love to get these hexagonal receivers because they are milled. During the Second World War, they did away with this milling and they just left it rounded. And in fact, they put a kind of a finish on there that's some kind of baked on paint finish This expedited the production of the rifles during the war because they needed as many rifles as they could make. But that was a little less well finished rifle, but the rifles were still very functional, very useful, very usable. Now, interesting note here on the Mosin Nagant is that because the rims have to be, the cartridges must be loaded so that the rims do not overlap in a backward overlap. Because if you do, the feed will be disturbed by the rim hanging up on the rim of the cartridge underneath it. So you want the rims to overlap in a forward direction so that the rounds can feed. Now, the Action has an interrupter in there for the top rounds so that when the round is fed, there won't be another round double feeding. So there's an interrupter in there. So what happens is if we have 5 rounds in the magazine and we want to dump the rounds out and we hit this button, you'll notice that 4 rounds will fall out because the 5th round is still stuck on the interrupter. And if you miss that, you'll drop 4 rounds out, close the bottom, and think the rifle's been unloaded. But no, it still has 1 round on the interrupter, and if you cycle the action, that round goes into the chamber. So all owners of the Mosin Nagant need to understand that there is an interrupter in there, and if you unload the rifle by opening the magazine floor plate and dumping the rounds out, you still have to get that round off the top of the interrupter because the rifle's still loaded. So the Finns put their own sights on there, and if you look at this rifle here, this particular model, all the serial numbers match, of course, but there's a lot of damage on the wood. There's some pitting on the bolt, and then right there in front, you'll notice that there's a ring of wear caused by the bayonet. So that the bayonet was used extensively on this rifle. I can only assume that this rifle saw some action, either heavy training use or actual action in battle. And that would explain all the wear and tear on the wood. Whereas my other Model 39 Finnish Mosin Nagant, the wood is in very good condition. And in the front, you'll notice that a bayonet has never been put on this weapon. And they like to put bayonets on that weapon when they went to battle, so that this particular rifle probably didn't see any action, was kept in reserve, and was never in heavy use. And I was fortunate enough to get a hold of 2 of these fine Model 39 Mosin Nagants back in the 1970s when a local gun shop got a big shipment of these. And as soon as I saw this rifle and saw the quality, by the way, I don't want to have all of you owners of the Model 91s that have very stiff bolts to feel bad at all, but the 2 models that you see here, the Model 39s, not only are the bolts very smooth in operation, very slick, they'll drop open on their own, they'll slide back and forth, but the triggers on both these rifles are excellent. There is a military take-up, but the break of the triggers is very clean and very controllable. So that it's very easy to shoot at the 6-inch bullseye at 100 yards from sandbag rests, and both rifles are zeroed in to hit the 10 ring, and they'll stay there all day with this ammo that is readily purchasable. I actually have another 440 round lot that has more of a brass color to it, and has a tip, a silver tip on the bullets. But these shoot very well. The ammo that we get is surplus and mildly corrosive, so we need to clean our guns. Otherwise, we're going to have problems with corrosion. Now, next time that a local gun store has the regular model 91/30 available, even if it has the round receiver, I'm going to go ahead and get one of those to add to my collection of Mosin Nagants, because those are fine shooters. And even if the bolts are a little stiff or the trigger pull is a little harsh or rough or heavy, they're still fine shooters. And for the money, you can't go wrong with getting a powerful military rifle that's very reliable, very durable, and very useful for around $100. As time goes on, we won't see these anymore, and the opportunities to buy used surplus military rifles will go down, because we're reaching the era where all the military rifles are assault rifle types that were designed to be fully automatic, that we won't be able to own easily, so that by the time these run dry and the SKSs are gone, we're going to enter a time when we're not going to be able to get military surplus rifles anymore. So if you haven't got a Mosin Nagant, by all means, you ought to consider going out and getting one, because not only for its historical value, but for its shootability. They're great rifles. I'm not going to shoot this at the range to show you, because once again, there's lots of videos of Mosin Nagants being fired on the YouTube, and I've seen all of them, and they're all very well done. Go ahead and look at those. And you don't need to have me shooting these, but know that I do shoot them, and I enjoy them a lot. So YouTubers out there, take care. Get your Mosin while you can, and happy Halloween.